nígbà tí Elédùmarè bá ní kẹ́ jí sáyé. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe wa ní orí ìkànnì yìí, tó bá jẹ́ pé lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ yín lẹ máa kọ́kọ́ bá wa pàdé, ìkànnì ni wọ́n ń pè ní Koikimedia, níbi tí ó wà lára àwọn ìkànnì tó ń jà fún ìjàǹgbara àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá látara in tí British create ní 1914 tí a ní ká gbé yẹ̀wò, ká jẹ́ kó padà sí ibi tí ó wà nígbà tí a wà ní orílẹ̀-èdè tiwa ní ìgbà tí àwọn òyìnbó dé ni wọ́n dá gbogbo ẹ̀rú. Ẹ má bèrè pé kí ló dé tí mo ṣe ń sọ tí mò ń sọ yìí. Àwọn ètò tá a bá ń ṣe, àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan máa ń fi àwọn ìbéèrè sí abẹ́ látara àwọn nǹkan tó yé wọn pé kí ló dé tí à ń jà fún Yorùbá tí a jà fún Nàìjíríà. Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà la máa fi ṣe àlàyé ọ̀rọ̀, àmọ́ lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ẹ bá wa gbé ọwọ́ lé share button kí a lè bá jẹ́ kí ẹni tí kò mọ̀ pa ti wà lórí afẹ́fẹ́ káwọn náà lè mọ̀ pa ti wà lórí afẹ́fẹ́. Aago 5 ló fẹ́ lọ lù lọ́dọ̀ tiwa ní London, different time zone, at exactly 4:45 in Nigeria, 4:45 in London. That will be 5-6 hours behind fáwọn tó wà ní America, Canada. Àwọn tó wà ní Australia ti wà ní 12 noon. Àwọn wà far ahead of us nítorí agbègbè ibi tó wà. Mo kí àwọn tó wà ní China, mo dẹ̀ kí àwọn tó ń bẹ ní Hong Kong, ní gbogbo ibi tó ọmọ Yorùbá fi ìkàlẹ̀ sí. Ètò tá à ń ṣe, a ní ẹni tó ń pè ní olórí tó jẹ́ bàbá wa Professor Adébánjí Akíntóyè. Bàbá Akíntóyè ni leader of the Yoruba self-determination. Bàbá ni wọ́n jẹ́ ẹni tí a lè sọ pé bàbá tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ ràn ẹ̀, tó ń wo ẹni, tó ń wo ọ̀la, tó ń wo pé níbo lọmọ Yorùbá ń bẹ, àti pé ìjà lè wà nínú ìlú tí wọ́n pè ní Nàìjíríà yìí kí a rí tiwa ṣe nínú ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ìran ọmọládé. Gbogbo ilé náà ni a ṣe wá ń pe àwọn olóṣèlú wa láti máa béèrè ìbéèrè tí kò yé wa pé kí ni wọ́n ń pè ní Nàìjíríà àti pé àwọn wo gangan ni Nigerians. Gbogbo ilé náà ni a fi ń ṣe ètò tá a fi ń béèrè ọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ara wa. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí kò yé ṣe ni wọ́n rò pé bóyá àwa àti ìjọba ó ní kankan tí a fẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ ìjọba. Kò sí kankan tá a fẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ ìjọba torí àwa kì í ṣe coup d'etat. Àwa ò dẹ̀ béèrè fún secessionist, self-determination, òun là ń béèrè. Bàbá mi Sun Odu ní New York City lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí, ìyẹn jẹ́ 11:49 p.m. ìyẹn ní local time wọn, ìyẹn ní New York. Mo kí gbogbo wa, ẹ bá wa gbọ́ wọlé share button lẹ́ẹ̀kan síbi ṣe sọ. Bóyá ẹ ti gbọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀, ìyẹn ní October tí ó ń súnmọ́ bọ̀ yìí, a máa celebrate ọjọ́ bí bàbá wa Chief Dr. Sunday Ọmọ Adéyẹmọ tí gbogbo wa mọ̀ sí Ìgbòho Elédùmarè, Ìgbòho Òòṣà, ìyẹn ní 11th of October ní London. Gbogbo ètò yẹn náà ni a ti ń sọ fáwọn tó bá fẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní ọjọ́ náà, níjọ́ Friday tí ẹ fẹ́ jọ bá wa jókòó ayẹyẹ fún ọmọ akọni Yorùbá, ọmọ Yorùbá tó wo ẹni, tó wo ọ̀la, tó fi gbogbo dúkìá sílẹ̀, tó fi gbogbo tó ní sílẹ̀, tó ní ìran òun ò fẹ́ jẹ́ kó parẹ́, ìran òun ò fẹ́ jẹ́ kí wọ́n kọ́ńkà wọn, nítorí pé ètò tá a fẹ́ ṣe ní alẹ́ yìí ó dá lórí bàbá tí wọ́n pè ní Malam Baba Garuba. In tó sọ ní December 1964, ṣé in tó sọ ṣó relevant láàárọ̀ yìí, ṣó relevant lánàá, àti pé kí ni àníyàn àwọn ará abítà ń sọ yìí, kí ni àníyàn wọn. Gbogbo ilé náà ni a ṣe fi ń ṣe ètò tá a fi ń dára wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kí nǹkan lè yé wa náà ni. Àmọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní kò yé àwọn tó. Bàbá wa kan ní Sweden wọ́n fi àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ ránṣẹ́ sí mi nínú comment section, màá sọ tí wọ́n sọ. Ẹlòmíì ti ń wà confused pé kí ló dé tá à ń da ilé ayé rú, Nigerians làwọn, àti pé lóòótọ́ Yorùbá làwọn àmọ́ Nigerians làwọn. Gbogbo nǹkan tí a fi láti máa ṣàlàyé fọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ especially àwọn generation kan bó jẹ́ pé wọ́n bí wọn sílùú òyìnbó tí wọ́n mọ the difference between Nigeria. Mo kí ẹ Jẹ́mọ́ 419 brother mi dáadáa, mo kí gbogbo yín bẹ ṣe ń settle down. Ẹ jẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ gbé lè mú bọ̀.
Lánàá lọ́jọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kẹwàá ṣe é fẹ́ gbọ́. Ọjọ́ tó ń sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkú olóyè Sunday Májàsọ́lá Àdìsá ọmọ Adéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho Òòṣà nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé igbákejì ààrẹ Mákindé Ìkíadùnbí ẹ̀ńtò ṣíṣe ìlọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforihàn. Àgbékalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé Dinner with Ìgbòho. Bákan náà làwọn ọmọ gba ọ̀tọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀ ní àgbáyé lálejò Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Sàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà eégún mọ̀gájí nílùú London láti wá sí àyẹ́sí fún olóyè Ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà. Yóò wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179 to 199 Holland Park Avenue London W11 United Kingdom. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago méje ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́dàgọ́ méjìlá òru. Bákan náà láti kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlàkà tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally ní London lọ́jọ́ kejìlá oṣù kẹwàá. Ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejì dínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho léyìí tó Ọláyọmí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa Gbẹ̀dú ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀gá àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn. Bàbá àti máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ní London round bus gbé àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abalapa gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford títí tí ìwọ́jọ́ fi parí sí Paris. Lọ́sàkà kú ẹ̀ tó bá wá di ọjọ́ kẹtàlá ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho. Láwọn ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan. Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́dún ní LA tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447 594 050 979. Ẹ̀dẹ́ Ìkíadùnbí lórí +447 570 320 030. Ṣọlá Pòpòtọ̀kù lórí +353 863 375 537. Bákan náà ní ilé kan sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447 896 018 764. Lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YNCN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún ìjàgbára ọmọ Yorùbá. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ṣe kí ọmọ aládìgbò wípé ẹkú ọdún ẹkú ìyẹ̀dún àti ìsàmọ́dún àsàmọ́dúnṣẹ́ ní ìtayà tọmọ Yorùbá World Media tó kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá.
Ẹ ṣé bàbá mi tí wọ́n ti kọ́kọ́ fi ọlá dá wa lára, dá wa ní pé Kóìkì ẹ̀rù wa máa báṣẹ́ lọ. Gbogbo táwa bá ní ti ìmọ̀, ní ti àdúrà àti ní towó a máa ṣe fún ẹ. Mo kí bàbá wa Sun Odo. Wọ́n tún wá ní kí n sọ fẹ́yìn ọmọ Yorùbá pé may God not allow Nigeria to happen to us. Àdúrà ńlá, àdúrà tó yẹ kí èèyàn máa ṣe ní gbogbo gbà. Mo kí ẹ ní gbogbo Miami kó palẹ̀ mọ́ láti wá rí brother Kúnlé Bakers. Àwọn èèyàn bínú lálẹ́ owó ni wọ́n ya wọlé, ó dèèyàn méjì. Bí Kúnlé Bakers bá ti ń wọlé ní ti máa fi mọ̀ ní pé a fi super chat a fi gbé orí wọlé pé Kóìkì mò ń bẹ pẹ̀lú ẹ o, mò ń fàdúrà ràn lọ́wọ́ torí pé iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe ìyàwó mi a máa wò pé bàbá ìtútù ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ àdúrà náà ṣe parí kọ́lọ́n gbàdúrà gbogbo wa. Mo ní ẹ máa fi àdúrà sílẹ̀ torí ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation ó gbàdúrà tó pọ̀. Àdúrà náà la máa ṣe tá máa fi délẹ̀ lérí, àmọ́ bá ṣe ń ṣàdúrà a máa ṣe yá la sẹ̀. Mo kí Kúnlé Bakers, thank you so much my ẹ̀gbọ́n dáadáa. Gbogbo àná la máa ríra, mo máa ń sọ pé a kì í ṣe ghost. Tony Aegis ó wà lára àwọn tó kọ́kọ́ fún wa lówó flag. Bàbá wa kan náà ti fún mi ní £100. Gbogbo rẹ́kọ̀dì yẹn and take it down. Nígbà tá a bá ti ní enough owó a ṣe the first production adé máa fi wọn gbogbo wa. Mo mọ̀ pé nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìkànnì yìí ẹ̀dẹ̀ gbàgbọ́ pé n tí ìkànnì yìí bá náà máa ṣe la máa ṣe. Owó tẹ bá fún wa pé ká fi ṣe nǹkan, irú owó yẹn kọ́ la máa mú tá máa fi tọ́jú ìyàwó. Tá bá fẹ́ irú owó bẹ́ẹ̀ à béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín ẹ̀dẹ̀ fún wa. So a ti ń gba owó fún flag. Ẹni tó bá lè ṣe 10 100 but minimum of 500 ni mo lè send sáwọn tó máa ṣe production nìyẹn. Lóòótọ́ ó jẹ́ ká máa ṣe púpọ̀ ni, ká dẹ̀ máa ṣe flyer, ká ṣe this, but ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní a nídìí gbogbo yẹn. Mo ní ṣé oúnjẹ ta jẹ ní last month òun náà la ṣì ń jẹ ní month yìí, ṣé epo ta rà sínú mọ́tò wa ní last month náà la ṣì ń rà sí, la ṣì ń lò náà títí di wákàtí yìí. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká tanra wa, there is a lot of work to do. Kò mean pé YSDM ò ní responsibility, ẹ má get me wrong, they have a responsibility, but platform yìí náà ní responsibility láti gbé ìgbésẹ̀ láti fi ṣe support fáwọn tó wà nílé. Mo kí gbogbo ìtẹ́tí ń dá sétò náà. Mo kí brother mi Shakiru Aziz, Allen Kondi, àwọn tí wà ní ọwọ́ ọ̀sán ìyẹn nílùú China. Kọ́bẹ̀lẹ́ Èdùmàrè kó wà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa. Mo kí bàbá mi Tóyìn Ìgbẹ̀san, mo kí gbogbo yín. Ẹni tí ń bá dárúkọ ẹ̀ dáadáa ẹ má fi ṣèbínú. Mo kí ọmọdé, mo kí ẹ̀yin ayé o, ẹ jẹ́ kó jù wá ṣe, torí pé kò sí nǹkan tá lè ṣe tẹ́ bá ti fọwọ́ sí, ó máa jẹ́ kó easy, á jẹ́ kó rọrùn fún wa. Ẹlòmíràn ní ǹjẹ́ arákùnrin máa ń sùn ṣá? Sójà ò kì í sùn, ní ti máa ń sọ fún ìyàwó mi nìyẹn. Á ní bàbá yìí nígbà tí máa fi wọlé ó ti dàtọ̀, ó ti sùn rẹpẹtẹ. Sójà no dey sleep, but èmi náà ti fẹ̀gbẹ́ lélẹ̀. Nígbà tá a bá dẹ̀ ti jí náà la jí. Grandma mi á ní ọjọ́ ọkú lọ́jọ́ ìsinmi, kọ́lọ̀ ń jẹ́ kí ikú kó má wọlé wá bá wa. Bọ́ gbogbo politician ikú máa wọlé pa yín ni, torí ìyà tẹ́ ń fi àwọn èèyàn jẹ, ikú gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé pa yín ni. Àfi tí ẹ bá ṣe ń ta fẹ́, a máa fà yín lójoojúmọ́, a máa fún yín lépè. Ẹ ní nísinmi bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe fáwa náà nísinmi, torí ẹ fún wa nísinmi, so ẹ má expect pẹ́yìn náà máa nísinmi. So bó ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn. Mo kí bàbá mi Kúnlé Ṣítà, Gani Olóyèdè, mo kí yín. Mo ní èmi ni last man standing. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe ń sùn màá máa fi ìkó màá fi jí yín pé wọ́n fẹ́ gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́, wọ́n fẹ́ gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká sùn taratara. This one no be joke, there is a lot to do. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí, àlàáfíà làwọn ọmọ yín wà, àlàáfíà ni gbogbo wa wà. Mo kí bàbá mi Tóyìn Ibrahim, mo kí gbogbo Lagos State Union, mo kí gbogbo àwọn Nigerian communities tó ń bẹ káàkiri. You still have to remain Nigerian community, but tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá máa sọ pé Yorùbá ló fẹ́. A lè change community Nigerians tó wà níta ká sọ pé torí a ti ń ṣe Yorùbá nation ká wá ní kẹ́ change ẹ̀. But ìjọ tá bá ti gba country, automatically a lot of organization, Yorùbá nurses in America are spring up, Yorùbá doctors are spring up, different organization are spring up quickly. Ẹ wá rí in táwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lè ṣe tí a lè fi dá lára. A ní ọpọlọ, a ní ìmọ̀, àwa lọ́lọ́run fún. Àmọ́ ẹ wò àwọn kan ló ń jà. Mo kàn sọ fún ìyàwó mi kó bá mi já ọdún yẹn wálẹ̀ ni. Yèyé Kúdí ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. Ìjà tí ìyá yẹn ń jà ni pé justice for Mohbad. Iṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá nìyẹn, iṣẹ́ investigator nìyẹn. Ìgbà tí mo dé ìlú ni mo realize pé ẹni tó ti kú ní 1960 wọ́n sì ń ṣe investigation ẹ̀. Kí ló pa, kí ló ṣe? Màá wá rí i pé wọ́n ń jail àwọn bàbá kan ní at age 70. Wọ́n á nígbà tí bàbá yẹn wà lọ́mọ kékeré ó ti commit offence. Nàìjíríà nìkan máa ṣẹlẹ̀ lákọ̀ máa forget ẹ̀. Ẹja àgbàgbé torí ọlọ́run àṣèdájọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ káwa ṣèdájọ́ fáwọn èèyàn. Ẹ yé máa pe ọlọ́run pé kọ́lọ́run ṣèdájọ́. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin olóṣèlú là máa ṣèdájọ́ fún. A máa ṣẹ́nu kò ní, bọ̀ mo ní woro sí woro, wòtòwòtò a máa wọlé wá bá yín. Tí bá náà máa wọlé wá bá yín, we know what we're saying, but tí wọlé wá bá yín, but a máa padà wọlé wá bá yín. Ẹ kọ́ tì mí. Britain gan nígbà tó wá colonize wa, wọ́n wọlé wá bá wa pẹ̀lú ogun ni ní 1861. Ó sì wà lórí mi, ìtìyàn bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ojoojúmọ́, data máa dàbí calculator ni. 1861 ni British dé sí ilẹ̀ wa. Portuguese ti wà níbẹ̀ láti 15th century. Tẹ̀bí táwọn náà ti ń ṣe exploration. Yorùbá dẹ̀ ti ń bẹ prior before that time. A ti ń ṣe government wa, a ti ń ṣèjọba wa, a ti ń ṣe ààbò níwọ̀nba tá lè ṣe láti fi protect aráàlú. Nígbà táwọn òyìnbó dé ní 1861 ní Lagos, it took them 42 years to prepare what is now known as Nigeria. Nígbà tó máa di 1903 gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìtàn tá gbọ́, wọ́n ti capture gbogbo ilẹ̀ yẹn. Kò ń ṣojú lásán, àwọn bàbá kan náà jà, àwọn èèyàn jà tafatafa, àmọ́ kò síbi tí kò ní sí ọ̀dàlẹ̀. Níbi táwọn bàbá kan bá ń ṣe pé òyìnbó ò ní rí wa mú, àwọn kan náà ló máa lọ sọ fún òyìnbó pé tẹ bá ti ń lọ ẹ má jẹ ẹ̀bà, ẹ má ṣe báyìí, ẹ má ṣe tọ̀hún. Á jẹ́ pé ẹ̀yin kan náà fi compromise movement yìí. Ẹ fi compromise ẹ̀, ìyẹn la ṣe wà níbi táwa yìí. Torí pé tẹ́ ẹ bá compromise ẹ̀ ni ó jẹ́ ká ti rìn jìnnà jù báyìí lọ. kò ń ṣe léèní ló ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀, àtayébá ni. Gbogbo àwọn tó dalẹ̀ Abíọ́lá àwọn náà ló ń ṣèjọba lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. So it is a continual process, and this is the reason why táwa kan ní ní gbà fún yín, ní gbà, àjọ máa ta tán bí owó ni. Ó máa wà painful fáwa, but ẹ̀yin náà ní nísìnyí a máa fà yín lójoojúmọ́ ní ṣòkòtò la máa fi délẹ̀ lérí. Mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Ọ̀nbọ́láwọ̀n Ọbat, ẹ bá mi gbọ́wọ́lé share button, ẹ jẹ́ ká tún play eléyìí lẹ́ǹkan sí. Tí bá máa fi jókòó padà, a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wọnú ètò yẹn láti máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa kí ni bàbá tó fi ọ̀rọ̀ ránṣẹ́ sí mi lórí ibẹ̀ ni màá ti kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀, kí ni wọ́n sọ àti pé kí lèmi náà fi dá wọn lóhùn. Gbogbo yẹn náà fẹ́ni tó ń sọ pé I am a Nigerian in Sweden. Ẹ má dálé ayé rú èèyàn ọmọ yìí. Nigerians ni mí, bàbá, ẹ̀gbọ́n, àbúrò, kí ni wọ́n ń pè ní Nàìjíríà? Ìyẹn la máa sọ láàárọ̀ ìmú bọ̀.
lánàá lọ́jọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kẹwàá fẹ́fẹ́ gbọ́ ọjọ́ tó ń sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkú olóyè Sunday Ajáṣọlá Àdìsá ọmọ Adéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho Òòṣà nígbà tí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́ lọ́jọ́ àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé ìgbàkejì ààrẹ Mákindé Ìyàtúndì Sẹ́ńtò ṣíṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforíhàn mágbékalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé dinner with Ìgbòho. Bákan náà làwọn gba ọ̀tọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀ ní àgbáyé lálejò Tajudé Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Tàlàbí Àgbòrò Ṣàṣà Èkó Mọ̀gájí nílùú London wá sí àyẹ́sí fún olóyè Ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà tí ó wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179-199 Holland Park Avenue London W114UN United Kingdom bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago méje ìrọ̀lẹ́ ìgbẹ́gbẹ́gbẹ́ méjìlá òru. Bákan náà láti kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ nìyẹn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ kejìlá oṣù kẹwàá ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejìdínlágbẹ̀rẹ̀ Ìgbòho léyìí tó Láyọ̀mí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa pẹ̀lú ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́kàn ọ̀jọ̀gá àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ẹ̀rọ. Bàbá sì máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ní London round bus sí àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford títí tí ìwọ́de òfin parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ kẹtàlá ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlágbẹ̀rẹ̀ Ìgbòho. Láwọn máa ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan. Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́dúnrún ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447-594-050-979 ẹ̀dẹ́ Ìjàdùbí lórí +447-570-320-030 Ṣọlá Kòkòtọ̀kù lórí +353-863-375-537. Bákan náà ní ẹ̀dẹ́ kan sí Tóyìn Ọláòyè lórí +447-896-018-764. Lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àpáyé pátápátá YSCN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún ìjàǹgbara ọmọ Yorùbá. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìpínlọ́dọ̀ àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá lè kí ọmọ aládìgbò wípé ẹkú ọdún ẹkú ìyẹ̀dún àti ìsàpọ̀dún àsàpọ̀dún sẹ́ẹ̀mí ìtajà tọmọ. Yorùbá World Media ló kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá.
Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ kẹ́ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí Mixlr in the last 19 minutes, ẹ má bínú. I thought I started it. This is what it takes when you have multiple platforms you need to set up. So it takes time to set it up one at a time because they are all independent away from themselves. And this is the reason why Tashinikawa are independent. Facebook is independent away from Google. Google is independent away from Mixlr. Mixlr is independent away from Elon Musk, which is the X, our Twitter space. So the Mixlr wasn't started, but I can confirm that I've just started it. So let's bring and sing the national anthem. The sound is low, please increase the volume. Sometimes networking, I guess, so far, there were Koikimedia the doer. Then so there is no sound or the sound is low. I would probably say the sound is good. I will not tamper with it, and I'm using a good laptop to run on that platform. So, Emma Binusiwa. But again, Lọ́jọ́ iwájú nígbà tá bá ní, because I'm using a mobile studio. So, tí bá parí program, I disconnect everything. Tí bá máa ṣe program, I start again. It is not an easy task, but I am not complaining to anybody. It's just for you to know that this is a mobile studio. So it's my own little living room that I've converted in the last 4 years the inconveniences to my family. They've not complained, but we are trying our best. So the audio should be good. Sometimes we man low earpiece, and when earpiece is fake down, when people look over to China, you say sound generator, so there's a lot of sound coming out in Nigeria. Now, Alan Conde says quickly before I go into the program, one stupid Fulani guy from Senegal, Tongbeni, China, living here told is from Congo, that he hate me because we Yoruba are blocking the Fulani to overcome Nigeria. And I asked him to come and face me face to face. They are very bold. YouTube, okay. And Facebook, don't complain. The Fulanis are becoming very bold, and I'll tell you why they are bold. But before we tell you that, Mufelo pick comment I spotted. I go through my comments at random, especially on Toba reply Lori program Tabashi. I go through my Facebook. I use 1 hour to run through what people are saying on my timeline. I'm bitter on Lori timeline me. You can tell. And I can see why some say, Koiki, stop stressing yourself a lot of Biafra. But like I always say, they want to go, let them go. Baba can send audio can Koiki, Emma Bawon Ibo She or Dale New Walk in. We know all this. They want to go, let them go. That's what we're saying. So when they come on my timeline, they are bitter. Not all of them. Just in one back, Perike, Town Mawajade ni Agege. The bá bó ṣe flood the page mi àwọn olórí burúkú ọmọ àlè yín rí àwọn olóṣì, not the good ones that wants to go. Yoruba people, you give them 1K now, they go back. Àwọn gan ti gba country o. Ó dà pọ̀ máa ń gbàgbé pé àwọn ti gba country. They think like, I think the Igbos think, let me speak in English. I think they think that they've got a country already. You don't have a country yet. There is a process that you're going through. And you have not even made a declaration yet. Your declaration that you say is going to be December 2nd, we don't have to do the same declaration the same day. We are different people. That's why we are not going to do things your own way. So don't expect that because you are doing things your own way, we have to follow that due process and do the same thing your way. And this is directed to those Igbos that continue to come on our page. Why are you coming on the page? Why not stick to your own page? The page is for the Yoruba people. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you. I am a Yoruba man. I am not an Igbo. I support Biafra to exit Nigeria. I will not allow divide and rules. But each time you come to the page, you are bitter. We are not the one that kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu, and it is not Tinubu that kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu. But we know that Tinubu is a bomb bastard that could have released Nnamdi Kanu, but he's not going to do so. So you have every right to do whatever shenanigans that you have to do. But stop bringing Igboho into your discussion, you bomb bastard. And like I said, I will stick with Biafra to exit Nigeria, and I will support them for my spot here. Most of you never even spoke to Nnamdi Kanu. You don't even know how Nnamdi Kanu speaks when it comes to internal conversation. And I don't have to reveal everything that I, Simon Ekpa, Igboho, and Nnamdi Kanu had. Not 4 meetings. Deep conversation. I was involved. Simon Ekpa reached out to me that Nnamdi Kanu wanted to speak to Igboho. I could have said no. I could have stopped it. So don't come on my page, you stupid, rat idiot, and continue to attack our people. We didn't create the mess in Nigeria. Everybody created the mess one way or the other. But the British created the mess. If you're not comfortable with my platform, fuck off. Fuck off, I said. And I'll deal with you on the page. I am a strong man. I can handle you. I can handle the Yorubas. Bomb bastard. And this is not for all the Biafrans. And if you're one of those that attack us and say, we are not doing Yoruba Nation, you are also a bomb bastard. Idiot. Now, let me go to that. And I already Mumbo, I have to come out from here because if I can't find it quickly, I did screenshot it and I can send it to myself. Mo kí gbogbo ilé nǹkan sí. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, màá dé pẹ̀lú gbogbo wọn. But like I said, we're not talking to the genuine Biafrans. Simon Ekpa will not sit in Finland and attack me. I know that. And neither will I sit here and attack him. Baba mi kunle shita mo kí ẹ. Just reason, ẹgbẹ́ wọlé share button. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí. Mo kọ́kọ́ fi respond. Those of you on the Twitter, I'm going to come out because what I want to talk about, I've screenshot it. I might come out. If it doesn't come back, I will restart again. Bear with me, please. So you can send a sitter quickly to my other phone because I did screenshot it like I said. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀. Gbogbo wọn ló máa gba wòtòwòtò lẹ́nu mi. Àwọn kéré sí nọ́mbà yẹn. Okay. I think we're back on the Twitter. Now, this was what somebody posted or wrote on my timeline in one of the programs we just did. And this is coming from, the YouTube. And it says like this. Thank you, sir. Greetings from Sweden, a beautiful country. I hope to visit one day in my lifetime. As a matter, I am always confused. Mo fẹ́ ká mú the word confused. I will first read it and I will do a bit of, dictionary meaning of some of the word confused, tribe, separate. But let me read everything again. Thank you, sir. Greetings from Sweden. As a matter, I am always confused about my tribe. Yoruba wanting to separate from the present federation. Most of us need more information about the whole thing. As I said, why and how. The word why, W-H-Y, has a deep meaning. Kini di, when I say why, kini idi, why do you want to pull a whole tribe out of a federation? Very deep. I want you to hold on to that. I will not start mentioning names again because we're now fully into the program. The word why, W-H-Y. So let's first look at the meaning of that word, why, according to the English dictionary this morning. So, tá bá sọ pé
why,
tí bá ní
why,
bíyàn kan bá sọ fún yín pé
why,
for what reason, for what purpose. So, this individual don't béèrè pé why do you want to pull a tribe? First and foremost, we are not tribe, but I'll come back to that. Let's first deal with the word why.
Why?
If I ask the audience, let me tap your brain. Why do we want to leave Nigeria as Yoruba tribes? Why do we want to exit the federation? Because somebody is asking. Somebody is asking a deep question that is in the minds of millions of people thought the Yoruba nation.
Why?
I believe Professor Adebanji Akintoye has told us so much about our background, our history. And I might have to go back to these documents to explain back to this person why. Let's go back again to the meaning of
why.
What is another meaning of
why?
Cause, reason. What were we before 1914? Ìbéèrè àkọ́kọ́ fún ẹni tó ń béèrè question yìí. Do you know what we were before 1914? If you do not know, we were known as the Oyo Empire. There was nothing called Nigeria, Nigeria, that is known today, prior before 1914. Kò sí nǹkan kan tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. But today, the person in Sweden is confused. They are confused because their history was removed from their curriculum in Sweden. Because I'm sure this person either lived in Nigeria before or was born in Sweden. I do not have the much background to that, but this person is communicating with me from Sweden. That means we have generation of Yoruba people that have lived abroad, but they've not been given the true meaning of who they are. Yes, they have Yoruba communities, but under the auspice of this fraudulent federation called Nigeria. So, when we say, how do we define this word?
Why?
Why is a statement of purpose that describes why you do the work you do and why you live the lifestyle you do. Why do people smoke? Why do people have sex? Why do people do not want to give birth? And why do people want to give birth? Why do people want to study? And why do people don't want to go to education anymore? Why do people want to do things? Will depend on the reason that we are saying that why are we Nigerians and why not what we are meant to be before the fraudulent slave trade and led into a fraudulent amalgamation by the British. Because the British were part of the Connie people, especially the English. And when our Connie, I will not take us through this stupid history that we now have to rewrite back. And if we delay it, it will become an obstacle today and in the near future. That is the reason why we, the Yorubas, must pull out of Nigeria to save our identity. So, Alagbatonberi, before I go into the what Baba Kitoye said, let me just go straight through this very small card in front of me. This automatically tells you why we are not what we are told we are today. And going by these, the Yorubas are one people. And when Yakan, I'm sure you know the word of, I'm sure you know what the meaning of people. And if you want me to do an English dictionary, I can do that right now. We are not one people in Nigeria. We are multiple peoples with an S. That means that lives in that geographical location known as Nigeria. Now, one culture. My culture is different from the Hausa culture. My culture is different from the Igbo culture. My culture is different from the multiple peoples that are not the same. That is number two. Why? Language is why. You can know how to speak Swedish, but I'm sure we do not know how to speak English. We were all forced to speak in English. Mukini, New York City. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n force. And that is why many Yoruba people today seems to be a little bit well learned, because we can speak, but that is not our language. Èdè wa ni èdè Yorùbá, abínibí èdè wa, tí wọ́n gbà kúrò lọ́wọ́ wa. Tony, if you speak in Yoruba, you speak in vernacular. That is what they've done. These were part of the colony to destroy people. You remove these three out of you, you are no longer having your true identity. So when you are asking me why are we fighting for Yoruba nation, so that we can go back to where and who we are prior, before the invasion of the invaders, because the Yoruba land was invaded by the Portuguese and also by the British, and it needs to stop now, so that the future of your children, the future generation, will not be confused like you. Because if you are already confused, I don't know how old you are, sir or ma, you can imagine the next generation will be much more confused. Cherry reason tí mo ṣe sọ pé we can't stop awareness. And need awareness for. We need awareness for the Yoruba diaspora that have just told me they are confused. At 5:21 a.m., my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. You're welcome to the program. Share the program and like and enjoy it. Again, the comment wrote like this. First and foremost, they appreciate what we are doing, because the word thank you means that we love what you're doing, but we are confused. It's confused. Because I'm sure maybe in Sweden, they've been telling them about the history of Nigeria, but they've omitted the history of the Yorubas. That is another thing that they do, especially those countries. All they are doing is they touch on the Nigeria history little, but they don't dive back into the Yoruba history. And now let's do that right now, because we have a learned historian known as Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Because the world, I am confused on why Yoruba tribe, then she tribe, Morawari. Thank you so much, Canary Clean. Be careful with all your comments. I'm sure you are not learned more than Professor Banja Akintoye, and I'm talking to you, Canary Clean. You are not 89 years old and you are not an historian. So all these, your comments, be very careful as I pick on them. Because none of you are much learned than Professor Banja Akintoye, and you have not witnessed what he has witnessed even during the time he was part of Baba Awolowo. So whatever you must have read with your Oyinbo people that put it together, we will only go with what Professor Akintoye has said. As an historian, I don't need Charles Darwin to tell me about anything like I've been reading in this book recently. Don't ask for my view, listen to my view. I am going under what our leader has presented, that I am using to present. Don't come and tell me, oh, we are not Yoruba, we are from Saudi Arabia. You are not a historian. The historian has given us, and if you need a record of this, go to Koikimedia website, you can download it. Because some of you think that because you have done one small course, you know more than Baba Akintoye. He's 89 years old. He has just written this at the beginning of this year. Because you are thinking that you know more than Baba. You cannot know more than Baba Akintoye. That is the reason why everybody must have a mentor. That is, you must have a guide. For the fact that I sit here, I could do my own little other talking, but we have a leader. I don't need Charles Darwin. I don't need any of these Oyibo people to come and tell me about my history. Elaine Soro Nipa coral reefs, how it traveled. But he has not told me about the people that were there prior before they left their own base and took month and month to arrive in that destination. But I want to ask of how the coral reefs looks like. Just like the lie about River Niger by Mungo Park. Everybody read that in the book. Now they've debunked it. Oh, River Niger was found by Mungo Park. How? So you sit down and listen. It's not about your view anymore. It's about the view of what a leader that understands the true meaning of why we should not be in this bastard country called Nigeria. Don't come and tell me about, oh, we should be known as Oyo Empire. We should be known as Oduduwa Republic. What we are first saying is we got to pull out of this bloodyless union that did not work. And the British knew that it was never going to work. So let's go back into the discussion, because I don't want to get carried away. And like I said, respect my platform. You can set up your own YouTube channel and do exactly what I am doing. Now, let's go to we are a nation with a proud root and a proud history. I'm sure Sweden does not have the time in their school curriculum to be giving you that history. They are too busy. They have other things to talk about. So even if you are a Swedish citizen, they are not going to be teaching you a Yoruba history. It is now up to you to find people like us so that we can give you that background history, because that history will not be taught in your own university, even in Sweden. And that is what they've done when they removed the history in Nigeria. So let's go back into, because I have treated this. We are already at week 15, but now I got to go back slightly to week 1, which is where we started. So what does the week 1 said? And let's go straight into it. We Yoruba are a nation with a proud roots and a proud history. And I want you to all listen. We Yoruba are a nation with a long and proud history. Long is not something that you can put anything to it. Atimbe for 13,000 years. And if you don't know, go Google what they called Iho Eleru, that was founded somewhere in Ondo State. Scholar one èèyàn tí wọ́n lọ gbé sórí research tó gbé sórí machine tó ní àwọn ilé tí ń bẹ for thousands of years. So don't come and tell us about Nigeria that is just put together by the fraudulent British colony in 1914. That some of your grandparents are even older than Nigeria. Don't defend nonsense. Don't come and protect stupidity, and don't come on the social media and sound idiot. People are telling us, and I'm just going to go back one step to what we are about to talk about. In 1964, Malam Baba Garuba published in December 30, 1964 on the West African Pilot, a newspaper that was published in Yaba in Lagos in 1937 by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Malam Baba Garuba told us this is the northern periscope on what they think Nigeria will be for them. The conquest to the east is now in sight. This was in 1964. They've already been talking about the conquest of the east, the conquest of the south. Are we not presently seeing that today? So the why is that people want to conquer us, and they're really serious about it. When our God, with a small capital letter, with a small letter alphabet G, sent Ahmadu Bello, just like God sent Babakitoye and gave Irumole to wake up Igboho, to stop the shenanigans of the Fulani that wants to take our land from Ogun in Oyo State. I traveled to Nigeria in 2021. I saw the damage. I saw how Dr. Aborode was killed. Not saw it, but I could feel it from the father's face. Dr. Aborode was a PhD holder that lived in Germany, just like many of us diaspora, returned back home to help his community. Some even came out to say that it was a political killing. Don't bastard Yoruba people and you Losholori Buruku. He was tied and he was martyred to death. That woke Igboho's spirit. Ṣèbí wọn àti Dr. Aborode bàbá wọn jọ kọlà ni. Púpọ̀ nínú mélòó ló kọlà níbi tẹ́ wà lẹ́nìí. Ṣèbí mi náà kọlà. Ìlà mélòó ló wà lójú gbogbo yín. Ẹ máa ti bàyẹ̀ pé Igboho kọlà. Ó ní ìlà, ó kọlà. So ṣé a máa ní kí Igboho ó yá ẹ fún wa ní machine káfí ṣèbí ó ṣò pé ọmọ ọkọ Yorùbá nílé nígbà tó bí. Ṣé Fúlàní ni bàbá ẹ̀ àbí Fúlàní yìí yẹ? Most of us were kọlà fún wa. Part of what they took away from us. Ó yẹ kí gbogbo akọlà ni. We should be proud of that. Ṣé mo lè ní kọ́ kọlà fún àwọn ọmọ mi nísìnyí? Ṣé ìyàwó mi máa accept? Nígbà tá a bá jọ gbọ́ra wa yí lágbọ̀ọ́yé dáadáa. And the same thing goes to every homes across Yoruba land today. Ó jẹ́ bá ṣe ń bí àwọn ọmọ yẹn ká kọlà fún wọn ni, because ó ní meaning. These are what the culture that this bastard British colony took away from us. And somebody will come and sit here and be telling me nonsense. And be asking why are we asking for Yoruba Nation? We're asking for Yoruba Nation because our true identity was taken away from us during the fraudulent margin of this nonsense country. That one Losholori Buruku politician don't jàǹfààní anything. So let's go back to the history. We Yoruba are a nation with long and proud history. Ẹni tó bá ti mọ̀ tán ẹ̀ ó ti sọnù. You want to know about Jesus Christ. You want to know about Muhammad, but you don't want to know about your history as Yoruba people. Confused people you are then. There's nothing too bad to know about Jesus, but remember there are multiple religions around the world. And it is not just your Christianity that will take anybody to heaven. Tell that to the Buddhists and the Hindus and let them speak to your face. Keep your religion to yourself and maintain your lane. Millions of people around the world worship different things. You are not the one to dictate who reach heaven and who does not reach heaven. Let's first treat the heaven on the ground in Yoruba land before you talk about the heaven outside. According to our very powerful ancient traditions, you may not practice the tradition in Moleni. Probably maybe teba fe se ìyàwó nìkan. Lẹ́yìn ìgbà teba se ìyàwó tán. Do we take the normal process? Do we do the normal traditions? We took all those traditions, we dumped them, and we embrace the English tradition that is not ours. That is why there's confusion in almost every part of Yoruba land and outside as diaspora, having a big impact on our lives. Because an impact when your children start growing up, they start behaving like English, even though they are not. They are Yorubas. It's because we have embraced a different culture away from our own true culture. And it's because we live in that society. Some of us are already tired. So let's go back again. We Yoruba are the oldest people now living as idiots, as stupid people. So when people asking me why, we are the oldest people on earth. We are also the first of the humans in the world. Don't expect anybody to tell you this, but Babakito will tell you because he knows. But their own argument will always be, no, we are not, because one more bitatimbo. The British lived with us for years. They studied us, they knew everything, and they know that we are the one, the chosen one, and we will remain so. So don't sit in your own little comfort zone and say you are confused. There's nothing to be confused about it. It's just that you have not been told enough who you are. Those traditions tell us that in the beginning of time, back in the days, our forefathers can look at the moon and they can tell you what would happen in the next 6 months. All these ones that they're telling us, oh, the weather is going to be like this. Our forefathers knew about all that. How were they able to do it then? Because at the beginning of the time, when all the surface of the earth was covered by water, one feel it up me. And that is why fellas say, kò sẹ́ni tó lè bá omi ṣọ̀tá. Ìwọ bá omi ṣọ̀tá. The Creator, according to our own lineage, not the one from the one sent to us from Jerusalem or anywhere. The Creator, God, as in the capital G, sent some heavenly being to come down and establish life on the earth. Kọ́mọ tuntun tó dé, ó níbi kan tó máa jókòó sí for 9 months. Ó ń ṣẹ̀mí nígbà tó wà nísàlẹ̀ yẹn kó tó di kó jáde tó ń sunkún tẹ́ fi máa mọ̀ pé ti bímọ tuntun. Àbí ẹ̀ kí n mọ̀ pé ọmọ tí ẹ gbé sínú fortunes yẹn táwọn ìyá wa gbé sínú ibẹ̀ for 9 months. Ó ti ń ṣe ẹ̀mí, ó ti ń ríran. Ó dìgbà tó bá délé ayé ni mo wá open up. The heavenly being descended. You okay? I'm not having any. Let's just keep us busy a little bit. Sort things out on the background here.
jáde níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforíhàn. Àgbékalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé Dinner with Ìgbòho. Bákan náà làwọn ọmọ gba ọ̀pọ̀ ní àgbáyé lálejò. Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Tàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà. Eégún Mọ̀gájí nílùú London láti wá sí àyẹ́sí fún olóyè Ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà. Yóò wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179-199 Holland Park Avenue London W114UL United Kingdom. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago méje ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́dàgó méjìlá òru. Bákan náà láti kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ kejìlá oṣù kẹwàá. Ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejìdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho. Lẹ́yìn tọ́láyọmí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa pẹ̀lú ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́kàn ọ̀dọ́gba àwọn alákẹ́lẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn. Bàbá àti wọn fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé láàrin London round bus sí àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford títí tí ìwọ́de ó fi parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ kẹtàlá ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho. Láwọn ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan. Ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ láyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá ṣètò ìfọlọ́sí ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀ tàbí kẹwàsá Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447-594-050-979 ẹ̀dẹ́ ìjàdùbí lórí +447-570-320-030 ṣọlá kòkòtọ̀kù lórí +353-863-375-537 bákan náà ní ẹlẹ́ kan sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447-896-018-764 lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YSCN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún ìjàǹgbara ọmọ Yorùbá. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dọ̀ àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá fẹ́ kí ọmọ aládìgbò wípé ẹkú ọdún ẹkú ìyẹ̀dún àti ìsàmọ́dún àsàmọ́dún sẹ́ẹ̀dì ìtayàtọ̀ mọ́ Yorùbá World Media tó kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá.
tí ò sí ẹ̀tọ́ tó yẹ kó ṣe fún aráàlú tí wọ́n dìbò fún tó jẹ́ ìjọba lé lórí tíjọba bá wà tí ààbò bá sí fún aráàlú tó ró òṣèjọba lé lórí aráàlú dìde fúnra ẹ̀. àbí mo dédé pàṣẹ àbí mo kàn sọ nǹkan tí ó wá látọkàn mi ìkẹ́ tó fa ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ni pé ẹni ìwò láti bí ijọ́ mélòó kan sí bí ọ̀sẹ̀ bíi méjì ń sìn nípa ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn Fúlàní tó wà ní gbogbo Ìbàràpá ẹ wo dókítà wa Dr. Fatai PhD doctor ọmọ Yorùbá tó kàwé tó gboyè ó wá lọ sí lóyìnbó ní àìníye ọdún ọlọ ṣiṣẹ́ ó wá dé okòódé ó wá lọ lu bàbá ẹ̀ ní gángan ó dá oko àgbàdo ẹ̀gẹ́ iṣu oríṣiríṣi nǹkan soya beans ó dẹ̀ gba ọmọ wa ní gángan bẹ́ẹ̀ náà sí bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀tẹ́ tó ń bá ṣiṣẹ́ Fúlàní wa jẹ oko ẹ̀ ó wá gbéra láti lọ bá àwọn Fúlàní yìí sọ̀rọ̀ láti lọ bá Sẹ́ríkì Fúlàní pé ẹ wá wo ohun tí àwọn ọmọ yín ṣe lórí oko mi kò yẹ kó rí báyìí lórí ilẹ̀ bàbá mi wọ́n dẹ̀ dé lókun bẹ̀ náà wọ́n dẹ̀ sàpà àìmọye yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a lè múrúkọ wọn làwọn Fúlàní yìí bẹ́ lórí tó pa wọ́n wọ́n jí àwọn kan gbé ẹni tó bá gbowó tó kéré lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ wọ́n gba 7 million wọ́n gba 10 million wọ́n gba 11 million lórí ilẹ̀ bàbá wa ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn dùn mí ó bà mí lọ́kàn jẹ́ gan pé tá a bá torí pé tó Ọlọ́run gbà fáwa àwa ará àwọn ọmọ tí ń tẹ̀lé wa tó ń ṣààbò fún wa àwọn tí ò lẹ́ni tí ó tẹ̀lé wọn kọ́ ìdí nìyí tó mú mi lọ síbẹ̀ yẹn ìgbà tí mo dẹ̀ débẹ̀ ohun tí mo lọ fún ni pé láti lọ bá a pé sógun ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí lórí ilẹ̀ wa sọ́dà ẹ ti ń gbé pẹ̀lú wa àfàyè gbà yín àbáyíjà àṣekẹ jàmbá fún yín ọ̀rọ̀ ni mò ń bá Sẹ́ríkì sọ̀rọ̀ làwọn ọmọ rẹ̀ yíyọ̀ pọ̀ sí mi mo gba ìbọn yẹn lọ́wọ́ ìkan yọ àké àgbà ìkejì tún yọ ìbọn mi ìyẹn tiẹ̀ yìí ẹni bá wọnú fídíò yẹn tọ́ra fídíò wọn ó yin ìbọn yẹn sí mi kí tó lóbọ̀ yẹn mọ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ bá gbọ́ fídíò yẹn pé ìbọn bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dáhùn bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n yin ìbọn sí mi bẹ́ẹ̀ kí n tó ẹ ń bájà wá ẹ̀yin pípò yìí tí n bá bájà wá ẹ̀ ní dúró tẹ́ ẹ bá ti wá lè wá àtúnṣe sí ọ̀rọ̀ jíjígbé àti pípa àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n wa àtàwọn àǹtí wa àwọn bọ̀dá wa àtàwọn ìyá mi àtàwọn bàbá mi tẹ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ wọn olóko mọ́ yé o ó bẹ́ẹ̀ tàkẹ́ forílẹ̀ bàbá wa lẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ bá ń pa yìí sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀sìn kí sọ̀rọ̀ ọjà àwọn kan gbé wọn fẹ́ pa àwọn mùsùlùmí kílọ̀kàmíkà mùsùlùmí kílọ̀kàmíkà kírísítẹ̀ kílọ̀kàmíkà gbogbo táwọn fà yìí èmi ò nídìí kankan àlàáfíà Yorùbá ni mò ń wá mi fẹ́ kankan bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n dúnkòkò tọ́pọ̀ jù wọ́n dúnkòkò ntọ́lọ́hún táwọn tí ń dúnkòkò náà mọ̀ pé àwọn dúnkòkò mọ́ mi ṣùgbọ́n ohun tí èjé kí ẹrù bà mí ni pé ó ń bẹ nínú Bíbélì pé tí ẹ bá ń jà fún ẹ̀tọ́ ẹ̀ lórí nǹkan bàbá rẹ̀ tó bá kú síbẹ̀ kò sí nǹkan kan torí pé mo mọ̀ pé gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe yẹn fúngbà díẹ̀ ni wọ́n ń dúnkòkò àti bí ìjẹ́ ẹ̀rí tọ́rọ̀ ti ṣẹlẹ̀ ń sìn ni wọ́n ti ń pè mí àwọn fẹ́ wá wọ́n máa arrest mi wọ́n ti ń send message oríṣiríṣi pé wọ́n fẹ́ wá gbé mi lé ẹ̀rù kankan sì bà mí. gbogbo àwọn ọba tó wà bẹ̀ pátápátá inú wọn dùn wọ́n sì fọwọ́ sí pé ìyà tí ń jẹ àwọn etí tó àwọn òfin fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ bàbá wọn mọ́ pépà ti tó àwọn tí wọ́n ń pa iná làwọn jọba lé lórí tí fídíò sì wà àwọn ọba gan ni wọ́n ń pè mí pé ìyà tí ń jẹ àwọn yìí ti tó àwọn tí wọ́n ń pa àwọn ọmọ àwọn tó ń pa yìí lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la àwọn náà làwọn sì jọba lé lórí ó ti tó bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí àgbààgbà Yorùbá tínú rẹ̀ dùn sí pé kò sínú àgbà ẹ̀rù ń bà wọ́n náà ni ẹ̀rù ń bà wọ́n bàbá wa ni inú tí wọ́n ní òdùn bí wọ́n ṣe ń pa wá bí Fúlàní ṣe ń jí wa gbé tó ń gbowó ńlá lọ́wọ́ ní wọn òdùn ṣùgbọ́n ẹ̀rù ń bà wọ́n kọ́ bá wọn yọ wọn nípò bí tí wọ́n wà sẹ́wọ̀n yìí pé nígbà tí wọ́n ń jí àwọn aráàlú gẹ̀gẹ̀ gbé tí wọ́n ń pa wọ́n tẹ́lẹ̀ kankan sọ̀rọ̀ ń bọ̀ ya wọ́n lọ jí ọmọ ọba gẹ̀gẹ̀ gbé ọmọ ọba tí ń bẹ lórí ẹ̀jẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ wọ́n jí ọmọ bàbá gẹ̀gẹ̀ gbé fúnra ẹ̀ tó fọ́ kó díẹ̀ bí wọ́n sì gba 4 million lọ́wọ́ bàbá kan tó gbọ́ ọmọ bàbá fún bàbá àwọn Fúlàní torí pé ń bọ̀ ọba ya àyè ti gba àwọn Fúlàní ìdèbí pé wọ́n wá gbé ọba fún ẹ̀ nú ààfin wọ́n nìkan lọ kí buwara lọ dáwọ́jọ àwa Yorùbá sì sùn a sì dákẹ́ a sì sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn bàbá wa dẹ̀ dákẹ́.
mo ṣe gbogbo ọlẹ́ǹkan sí coming up to almost olóyè Ìgbòho okay pọ̀lọ́ àbáwá pọ̀lọ́. So let's come back to the history now. We are still dealing with the question asked from our comment section nípa being confused as Yoruba person in Sweden. The heavenly being descended, bringing with them a chicken, a palm nut, and a small pot filled with a quantity of earth. Bí a ṣe ṣẹ̀ wá ni wọ́n ṣàlàyé fún wa. Òyìnbó lè má ṣàlàyé fún yín bẹ́ẹ̀ because they're not going to tell you who you are. Wọ́n ní sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ fún yín. Their leader was Oduduwa. When they reached the surface of the water, they poured out the earth contained in a small pot, and it formed a small piece of ground, Odiile. Then they put the chicken on this ground, and the chicken went to work scratching the ground with its claws, and the ground spread, and over time became the continent of the earth. You don't need any scientist to tell you these. They then sowed the palm nut on the ground. It then germinated. Kílódé tá ṣe máa ní tá bá spill nǹkan kúrò lẹ́nu wa sílẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Piam agro. It became the first plant in the world. Do you expect the British to come and tell you that àwọn làwọn kọ́kọ́ ní the first plant in the world? All this is something that we, the Yorubas, must do to preserve who we are, so that this can be translated in all the language of the world. So people know our true identity. How are they going to know your identity when you've already been known as Nigerians? How do you expect them to tell you your true identity when we are already carrying a fake identity called Nigeria, subject to those of you that have other nationalities? And all these is the reason why we are saying we need to exit Nigeria, so that we can go back to our true identity. It's coming up to almost 6 in the morning. The heavenly beings themselves became the first humans. Oduduwa became the progenitor of the first people in the world, the Yoruba people, and therefore the progenitors of all humans. This little story or mate might make our children laugh. But wọ́n lè ní understanding it. But for the historians, but to the historian, it is something very serious. And that is why ṣe fẹ́ pààrọ̀ yẹn rẹ́. That is why tó fi make sure pé wọ́n jẹ gàba lé wa lórí. That is the reason why our kan gbọ́dọ̀ fight it now. Don't expect the British to come and fight on your behalf. The same people that colonize us, the same people that destroy who we are, and these are the people that you expect to come and tell you who you are. Really? So you're expecting the British to come and tell you who you are. So the question is, as a matter, I am always confused about my tribe, the Yoruba wanting to separate from the present federation. What federation? What federation? The whole structure of Nigeria is fraud. Maybe some of you have left Nigeria for too long and you don't have the better understanding of what that nonsense British colonized countries today. And this is the reason why we are here, to take you back stage by stage and explaining things bit by bit. And maybe I should just remind that person that for even 30 years today or 25 years, every politician operating that entity knows the truth, but they're not going to tell you the truth, because the truth is bitter. So teba ma gbo titoro, you got to look for people like us that are now rewriting the truth. Like I said again, Biashe Shewa could be like a joke to some of your children, but to the historian, it is something very serious and very important. Very, very important. And I'm not just directing this to that person, is again to many of you that says you are confused. Koiki were confused. He been Nigerians, Niwa. That is what the British told us. But what about what our forefathers told us? Oh, so which one do you want to accept? Èwo lẹ fẹ́ gbà? Ṣé ètí British ń sọ fún wa ní ká dìmú pẹ̀lú gbogbo jàǹbá tí British ṣe ní orí ilẹ̀ wa, pẹ̀lú gbogbo olè tó jà lórí ilẹ̀ wa, pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa tó kó lẹ́rú at the point of no return ní Badagry? We are not talking about ìjọ kan ló fi kó wa lẹ́rú. Do you know that it went as far back as over 500 years? It was with weapon. It was with force. You didn't know that? So gbọ́ rí pé gbogbo time tí wọ́n ń ṣe ẹrú yẹn, but it was with force. F-O-R-C-E, force. They were not doing it because of anything. They were doing it for their own gain, because they needed people to go and work in the sugar cane farm. Don't be a pretender. BT616 said the fight is for the youth. 67% of Nigerians are below the age of 35. That is the key to the liberation of Yoruba nation. Our elders ti jẹ dodo, ẹnu wọn ti ṣe kíni, just like what I put on my lips all the time. Ẹnu wọn ti lóróró, ẹnu wọn ti ní òróró. Don't expect Tinubu to tell you the truth, even though Tinubu used Yoruba nation in the 1999 during his campaign as a governor. They all know the truth, but they are now in the power of corridor, the Bodejo, no, the Oshobas, the people that are close to the corridor of power. The corridor of power is sweet, but it is temporary Buhari that was there, dead or alive, is no longer there. Jonathan that was there before is no longer there. Rishi Sunak was one time the prime minister, is now known as the ex-prime minister. Theresa May is still alive, one-time prime minister. Margaret Thatcher was a one-time prime minister, she's dead. So we are only here for a little time, but we must preserve our history. Nigeria is not going to preserve it. Nigeria is not going to respect it. Yes, we can have thousands and thousands of Nigerian community with Yoruba community underneath. It will not save our history. Yes, we have a lot of activities around the world that represent Yoruba people, but it is still under Nigeria. Eshi baba wa sunudu, muki our beauty amokwe, muki our idayat, show your ball. So we are not sitting here because we don't have something to do. We are sitting here so that people can know the truth. And the truth can be bitter. It could be painful. It could look like it's a confusion. There is no confusion about Yoruba nation. We are who we are. Britain, time, Temigbe, I will not create a gbogbo problem and face lane. They created the mess. Don't expect them to come and resolve it. They're not interested to solve it. They're interested to continue to trade with that fraudulent country called Nigeria by importing their product into Nigeria. Can you imagine? Not that we are not importing our own goods here for consumption purposes, but go and check what is the percentage as against how the British is still taking royalty from Nigeria. Do you know that? Do you know that we are still paying the British royalties? Do you know that some families are still being paid for slave trade? Òyìnbó ló sọ fún mi ní Central London. The British government ó ṣì ń sanwó ẹrú fáwọn family kan pé kó jọ̀ọ́ má bínú. I went to Liverpool in 2021. Google it, Koikimedia, Liverpool Slave Museum. So why are we pretenders? A ṣe ń ṣe bí ẹni tí gbogbo ala mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation kò ń ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà, but because some of you have been confused by the West. Tabate ma trust gbogbo yàn, ṣé West la ma trust? Oh, because I live in the UK, I must not speak out. Is that what you expect me to do? I said I am not scared of them. Ikú kan ló máa pààyàn. Ẹni tó fẹ́ pààyàn náà máa padà kú. That's about it. Ẹni tó fẹ́ pààyàn òun náà máa padà kú. Níbo ni Queen wà lẹ́ni? She died. The longest serving monarch, at least in the history of the world. She's gone. Ó ti lọ. Gbogbo jàmbá tó ṣe òun ló lọ lọ́nkàn yẹn. Ó ẹ mọ̀ kó náà ṣe jàmbá. Ẹ fẹ́ ká máa tẹnu bọ̀rọ̀. Ó ẹ gbọ́ rí ẹ mọ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá mọ̀ àwọn ọ̀ràn bàbá ẹ̀kọ́ ló kó wa lẹ́rú. Don't let the West consume us with nonsense information that we are not who we are. So ẹ fẹ́ ká wà lábẹ́ Nàìjíríà. Ká máa fà wá ṣe statistics nínú Nàìjíríà when we can be our own statistics so that we can have accountability for every sons and daughters of Yoruba at home and in the diaspora. Bí bàbá tó wà ní Sweden àbí ìyá dẹ̀ ní, I don't know whether you're a man or woman, that you are confused about your tribe. We are not tribe. Mboleti Morayin. These are all the false information táwọn olùṣí West tó gbélé wa lọ́wọ́. Let's go back into this. Ẹ ràn wá lọ́wọ́, I need it. You know, àwọn ọmọ nìkan ló ní tablet nínú, èmi nìkan ni mo ní tablet nínú ilé. Ẹ ràn mí lọ́wọ́ kí n lè ra tablet. Have you ever heard about Iho Eleru? Èèyàn mélòó ló ti gbọ́ rí? How many people have ever heard about Iho Eleru Mokia Tokyo 778? Alara pe Moki. And if you cancel about Moki, I can reduce the background audio here to come upon the channels. Moki Momsimi Dada for bringing me up for kind of day like this. Just like many of you in Shanyuleni in Nigeria, while almost 16 years old in Europe, they be more. But Agbalagba to Nigeria and Shanyu. Abi, is that not what is happening in Africa? 16 years old, Ashe Jigi Jigi, Abi Mokale, Wagba. Toba no from Wamabato, but Agbalagba to one ile torí pé kò rẹni tó máa support ẹ because kò sí government. I am Sophie, good morning. Why are we like this? Why are we like this? Ìbéèrè ni o. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi dáadáa ṣe wọn kí n bá lóye. The last time I met him was in 2019 in Yaba when I went to pick up my INEC accredited information. Mo kí àmì comfort Ológunjà. Kò ní bàjẹ́ fún yín mọ́ mi. For the last 3 years, this woman and this sister in America have stood with this platform in team. All she says is just focus because one more will might deliver. British colony are still paying good. Are still paying. What she song Onyibo ló sọ fún mi nínú protest kan. Only the British government is paying the people that bought slaves. And you are there defending these. The truth must be told. That is the only way to live in liberate Arawa. Koiki ẹjọ́ tẹ́ ẹ̀rọ ti pọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kó pọ̀. Ẹjọ́ àkọ́kọ́ gbọ́dọ̀ rújọ́ kalẹ̀. I don't pray that we go and fight and kill each other. Bí a ta bá rojọ́ títí bóyá àwọn tí à ń rojọ́ fún maybe they would have once against weaponizing insecurity at the just concluded Nigeria Bar Association event. We've all seen it, we've all listened to it. But we're talking about the history that was tampered with. Why have they tampered with it? Because they knew that the future to come, we should not know anything than what they want us to know. Just want to monitor my screen from here. A very good morning. If you're new to this platform, Iho Eleru is in Ondo State. You're right, I am Sophie. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Why am I doing this program this morning? It's just as we do all the time. But the reason why I am responding back to these our comments from Sweden, wait, Koiki, why are you all trying to change Yoruba tribe into what is called Yoruba Nation away from the Nigerian Federation? Which federation? Which of the federation? But àlàyé la máa ṣe fáwọn èèyàn kò tí mú jàdání mo kí gbogbo èèyàn wa at 6 o'clock in the morning. I want to see if I can find the video. And if you have not watched or listened to this before, you can also do a quick Google search and it will pop up. As we say, we must not be allowed to be intimidated by anybody. We are Yorubas and we will defend that territory with our word. Iho Eleru, as in IHO ELERU. Iho Eleru, formerly known as Iho Eleru, is an archaeological site and a rocket shelter. Oh yes, on Benny, I got a message that the colonies are still paying British indirectly. mọ́mì mi kan pè mí sensitive place lọ́tí ń ṣiṣẹ́ nílùú yìí. She told me that we are still being told to pay, and we are paying royalty to this country. I won't go further. Very sensitive place, Lotin Shishe. She told me that. She works within that sector. And she cannot share anything with me because they will know. But she confided in me. We want to have cordial relationship with the British, yes, but not under Nigeria anymore, but as an independent country. And there's nothing wrong in that. And that is why October 12, God's willing, we'll be moving out from the British Broadcasting House on a peaceful rally, so that the British are concluding with the new government in place that the Yorubas are serious to exit Nigeria. They will not do much, but it is to create that awareness into the new government, because for the last one that we have been doing, it was under the presence of conservative government. Government change hands. So Tabani killing reasons especially rally in the UK is because we have a new government in place. Boy, it is in Nigeria, it will happen at the appropriate time. Office. So we will do it at the appropriate time. But let's work with the UK first in October, which is just some few months away. Iho Eleru, formerly known as Iho Eleru, is an archaeological site and a rocket shelter that features later Stone Age artifacts from during the late Pleistocene Holocene transition. And what does that mean? The Pleistocene, as in Pleistocene, is the geological epoch that lasted from the C.2.58 million to 11,700 years. It will be years don't sorrow. Omo Yoruba one defend in Nigeria. We might not know. I said yesterday, I worked and I am proud to have served the Nigerian community in this country for 10 years without being paid. I was proud to have done it because it was a clearing call, as at the time I pulled out to say I wanted to serve them. Because I need to pay me to serve the Nigerian community. Nobody called me. I went there and I called myself into them. We're talking about over 11,000 years ago, span the Earth's most recent period of the repeated glaciations before a change was finally confirmed in 2009 by International Union of Geological Science, the cutoff of the Pleistocene transition, which is located in the forest savanna in the village of Isarun. Isarun is a village in Ifedore in Ondo State. But they have to put Nigeria because that is what it is known according to the world. It lies 24 kilometers of Akure, the state capital. The village gained international attraction in 1922. How are we like this? I mean, how are Yoruba feeling as if we are stupid idiots? And we are not. Educated idiots. Defending nonsense for their own only selfish gain. Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ilẹ̀ wa pé wọ́n rí nǹkan kan níbẹ̀ tó jọ wọ́n lójú tí wọ́n bá pàdé rí láti jọ́ tó ti ń ṣe ilé ayé. Ṣèbí mo sọ fún yín pé at the beginning of the earth, according to Baba Kitoye, bí Olódùmarè ṣe dá wa. And let me play the video to back what I'm about to read more further.
This is a replica of a skull from Nigeria.
You love Oyibo people more than me, Abi. Not every one of you, because the way they speak. Àwọn ló máa sọ nípa history wa. So ilé ló máa ṣe máa sọ fún wa nípa Iho Eleru tí bàbá Akíntóyè mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, as an historian that studied in Ile-Ife, that studied and lived in that system before he traveled and further educate more people in America. So ìwọ tó ṣe wá dé nísìn, àwò lẹ́yìn. Mo ń béèrè ní o. Ẹni tó bá ju bàbá Akíntóyè lọ ni olóyè máa bá mi argue pé irọ́ ni mò ń pa. Oh, ẹ̀yin náà ti kàwé díẹ̀ bí bàbá Akíntóyè. Really? So you are going to dispute bàbá Akíntóyè? Koiki, shut up. Kí ni bàbá Akíntóyè mọ̀? Let's be careful. Bàbá yẹn wá ń lo the last strength tọ́nà fún ní àgbà ọjọ́ orí ẹ̀ pé ìran yìí kò jẹ́ kó wà níbi tó wà. Bàbá lọ ṣe presentation fún wọn ní South Korea. Do you understand what that means? In 1982, when Nigeria máa dà, àṣé it was just all time wasted. Do you know how many of us have borne our strength trying to work with Nigeria? Like I said, I did regret working in the community. Will I do it again? No. My contacts are still there. I still have good cordial relationship with every single one of them, but I will not participate in any of the nonsense called Nigeria community with whatever they are doing. Let them do what they are doing, because I'm Nigerians. That does not mean if I have to engage with the embassy, I will be there, because the country is still existing, and if I need anything from there, I will have to go there. And like I said, I will be there soon. Mother Sibe, because I don't live in Africa, I live in Europe, where there's rules of law. And as long as Nigeria continues to exist, we will engage Nigeria in any format and ways. Ìjọ tí kò bá exist mọ́, then we don't have to engage it. And tó bá fi máa lo Nigeria kan máa lo lókè ọ̀yà.
And it was dug up in 1965 by Thurston Shaw and his team, an archaeologist. It is about 13,000 years old.
Did you hear that?
And
it's about 13,000 years old. Wọ́n rí agbárí kan nínú Ondo state níbẹ̀ yẹn. Ta ló bá máa fly lọ sí Ondo lójoojúmọ́? Bọ̀ púpọ̀ mi fi lọ sí Spain lọ ṣọlidé. Ẹ fi lọ sí Italy lọ ṣọlidé. Ẹ fi lọ sí Cyprus lọ ṣọlidé. Ẹ fi lọ retire gan sí African country mi bọ̀ kò ń ṣe Nàìjíríà. Tẹ bá lọ Nàìjíríà dé Ondo mọ́ torí àyà yín ń já pé àwọn ìyá àjẹ́ kan wà níbẹ̀. Ìdí nǹkan tó fún wa nìyẹn, impression tó fún wa nìyẹn. Pé ta bá lọ sí Ondo wọ́n máa pa gbogbo wa. Pé ta bá lọ sórí ilẹ̀ wa wọ́n máa pa wá. I am talking about the spiritual side now. If Ondo was running on air condition, àjẹgún á máa sá. Torí pé òtútù á máa mú wọn. Ẹ wá wo bí ta bára wa lé ní. Àwọn ilé wa ń ṣe presentation nípa nǹkan tó ní wọ́n bá pàdé. Pé nǹkan báyìí ń bẹ lórí ilẹ̀ tẹ̀yìn. Kí lè rò pé àwọn òyìnbó ṣe destroy Benin Empire? Kí lè rò pé wọ́n ṣe destroy Ọ̀yọ́ Empire? They destroy because they don't want us to be known as empire. Ẹ̀mọ́ tó ń pè ní empire ni in tó ń fẹ̀. Àwọn wá slice ẹ̀ in 1884. Ẹ gbọ́ Berlin Conference rí. They knew what they were doing. Do you understand? Botswana found diamond, but they have to pay them 10% out of it on their land. In Botswana, the second largest diamond in the world, but the people that owns it have sold the land to a Canadian whatever company that manage the land on behalf of Botswana. So àwọn Botswana ò láwọn tó rí ẹ pé that is part of what they've done. Why do you think there's fighting going on in almost every African country, from Congo to Sudan to everywhere? Because when there's stability in those regions, orí àwọn èèyàn máa ń pé, why do you think they're using cow as a disguise to fight us? Cattle herders and farmers are fighting. They're not fighting. It's terrorism. And as I was waking up this morning, before I go back to Iho Eleru, I picked up this and I posted it straight away from the Sahara Reporter. In Yobe State, continue to defend Nigeria. Bí bàbá mi sún ló ṣe sọ, just pray that Nigeria does not happen to you. ẹni tí Nàìjíríà bá ti happen sí wọn ní ẹni tí kinní kan bá ṣojú ẹ̀ wọlé kò ní bá wọn bú ọba kinní kan mọ́. A very good morning. If you're new to the platform, it is called the Self-Determination Platform. Do not disrespect this platform. I will kick you out. Because I jókòó sí bíbá láti wá ṣeré. In tó ń dùn wá lọ́kàn, òun làwa ń sọ ní bíbá. Mo kí bàbá mi àgbẹ̀lọ́ba. Àmọ́ náwọn kan àgbẹ̀lọ́ba, mo wọ̀ jẹ́ kó ṣàgbẹ̀. Throughout yesterday, a ṣì wà ní eléwé ẹran. Ṣé eléwé ẹran ni ní Abẹ́òkúta police station. I won't go into all the details. Fáwọn tó ń jẹ oko lóko tó bá attack wọn padà nísìn wọn náà ọmọ Yorùbá nation ni wọn náà ọmọ Ìgbòho ni àwọn kan dẹ̀ ń jẹ oko wa. Bá dúpẹ́ fáwọn ọlọ́pàá níwọ̀n bá gbára tí wọ́n ní láti ṣiṣẹ́ tó yẹ kó ṣe. I'm not here to defend Nigeria, but I'm just saying that our people are suffering and we're still engaging both the police and the DSS. I was still on the phone with the DSS up to last week, and they've now acted. Como bí wọ́n pé kí ló dé kí làwọn èèyàn wá ṣe tí wọ́n ṣe jàǹbá fún wọn tẹ́ ẹ̀ dìde. They don't have the powers. Let's hope the new DG, before Nigeria collapse, will go after the criminals and leave the farmers alone. Sitting abroad and think that what you're looking at in the picture from what Tinubu is telling you, instead of it can wonu sale, can lower pain that one go through. And the Yorubas are the one endorsing and supporting this criminality as well. I won't go into all the details. So I joke with for every blessed day of my life I wake up, I'm dealing with all multiple different problems. Every now and then I'm calling Oloyegbowo. Intimidation back to back. All of my keep me rally for now. Torí mo lè rally kí tún máa sáré ọmọ nílẹ̀. Up to last week, mo ṣe ń polóyè. Kíyàn ní C of O, kọ́dẹ̀ tó fẹ́ gbalẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Irú intimidation wo nìyẹn? Irú society wo nìyẹn? Ṣé irú life tẹ̀fẹ́ ká máa gbé nìyẹn? Ṣé nígbà tí bá ra lẹ̀ sí London ṣọ́ tún intimidate mi tí mo san mortgage mi? Tí ìbá dẹ̀ ra mortgage tí mo wà nínú flat mi tí mo ra manager. Up to last week, I was still calling Chief Sunday Igboho. Kí ni ẹni ṣe pẹ̀lú Yorùbá nation? Ṣèbí lára pẹ̀rẹ̀tà ṣe pé ká gba country nìyẹn. Àwọn tó ní C of O tó tún fi gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́. Torí ilẹ̀ bá ti ràn mọ́ wọn lójú. Ilẹ̀ onílẹ̀. So ẹ̀yin mọ̀ pé àwọn kan já wọ́n gbalẹ̀ tó ń gbé ọmọ nílẹ̀, but ẹ wà worried about the Fulani tó fi gba gbogbo ẹ̀mọ́ gbogbo wa lọ́wọ́. Just want to give us this. Sahara Reporter dated the 30th of August, because I love to talk about date. The bank from any report Latin Nigeria, I need to know the date and the time. A sunny Yoruba, a sunny English. We must start putting those into documenting. Record the video, send the siwa. Give us the date, give us the time. In come by in Shelley, Lasico by. All these will still be used in the near future for research, so that Kilu may have to go through to Yoruba go through more. Boko Haram terrorists. Surprising now that they're calling them Boko Haram terrorists, no longer bandits. Storm Yobe school. Konshele Yoruba, but they will still do that Nilewano if we give room for that. Boko Haram terrorists stormed Yobe school around 4 a.m. That is a deep sleep when you're in that mode of 4 a.m. Afentoban Shadura, my wife just went to bed. Bomb bastard all over the place. Shaisun titi. Mo sọ fún yín pé bẹ́ẹ̀ bá rán kankan wá sínú ilé tèmi, ó máa padà wá bá yín ni. Ẹni bá gbórúkọ mi lọ sí anywhere, èmi náà gbórúkọ yín lọ sí anywhere. Máa fi Ifá bá yín jà, máa fi Jésù, máa fi gbogbo ẹ̀ bá yín jà. Máa sọ fún yín pé ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí. màá ní kó gbé òògùn jáde fún yín. Ìtàgbédá ni yóò ṣeré o. It's life and death, and we are meaning it. Don't try it. And I'm also caution as well. Bomb bastard. And so what gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́ ẹni kí n dákẹ́. Boko Haram terrorists stormed Yobe school around 4 a.m. Bring out the student and shot them dead. In Nigeria, lábẹ́ Tinubu òṣì tẹ́ sọ pé Tinubu olórí burúkú bomb bastard. Tí Fúlàní ti fẹ́ pọn ya. Ọmọ kì í ṣe di bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ àgbélẹ̀kẹ̀ sí díẹ̀ lọ́mú yìí. The whole military architect of Nigeria is compromised. Tinubu is just a figurehead. Let's go back to Iho Eleru before we go into the program. Probably run the program for another, probably just 15 minutes. We'll need you 2 hours long because I got a lot of days to do ahead of me. Let's go back.
My colleague Katerina Havati used a new technique of digitizing the surface of his team. This is a replica of a skull from Nigeria, and it was dug up in 1965 by Thurston Shaw and his team, an archaeologist. It is about 13,000 years old. And my colleague Katerina Havati used a new technique of digitizing the surface of the skull in 1972. And she found, as I did, that it does not look like recent African material. So here we've got a recent African skull, and here's the skull from Iho Eleru in Nigeria. You can see that this skull is much longer, it's much lower. And all in all, it's got a much more what we could call primitive appearance, even though it's only 13,000 years old. And in Katerina's analyses, she found that the nearest neighbour, in terms of the overall shape of the skull, was this specimen from Tanzania, from a site called Ngoroba, which is, we think, about 140,000 years old. So you've got a specimen that's only 13,000 years old, but it looks like it should be, another 100,000 years older in terms of its shape.
So what's going on?
So this suggests that human evolution in Africa was more complex, that the transition to modern humans was not a straight kind of transition and then a cut-off. The archaic humans did not necessarily die away once they'd given rise to modern humans. They may have been living in some parts of Africa alongside, in a sense, their descendants, and perhaps exchanging genes with them. Just as Neanderthals seem to have interbred with people outside of Africa, archaic humans in Africa could have been interbreeding with modern humans inside of Africa, and this skull may show a reflection of that interbreeding between archaic and modern humans.
Ẹ má jẹ́ kí n fọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run.
When we have something and we let it go, that is who we are. So, I've just gone back a little bit to the history because of the comment that somebody asked me, who are we and why are we trying to remove Yoruba people from the federation of what is known as Nigeria? And there's nothing called Nigeria, like I said. It is all fraud. So again, before I leave that, because I want to now touch on the topic for the next probably 10-15 minutes. Thank you, sir, according to the comment. Greetings from Sweden. As a matter, I am always confused about my tribe, Yoruba, wanting to separate from present federation. Most of us need more information about the whole thing, as I said, why and how. And I hope with my little analysis this morning, this individual have now understood. You can go through my website, KoikiMediaInternationalNews.com, where I have dedicated a page on that website where you can download these and read it for your own consumption. And don't be stupid, because no Western will tell you who you are. You need to find out who you are yourself. Now, because of the time, like I said, and I want us not to sit here the whole day, as I have other engagements myself that I have to deal with, for the day. Let's go straight into this again. We read it a little bit yesterday, and I'll continue to read it until we all understood properly. This was put together in the newspaper of December 30, 1964. This time around, I will read everything through without any kind of analysis like I did yesterday. It was in the West African Pilot newspaper that was published in Lagos in Yaba. This newspaper was founded by Nnamdi Azikiwe, a front line of the Nigerian nationalists in 1937. And this goes like this. The problems we are having in this country now didn't start today. Here is something from the archive statement by Malam Baba Garuba that was published in December 30, 1964, issued of the West African Pilot, the newspaper published in Lagos, Nigeria. This newspaper was founded and published in Yaba, Lagos State, Nigeria in 1937 by Nnamdi Azikiwe, the frontline Nigerian nationalist. The paper served as his mouthpiece and that of others. Below is Malam Baba Garuba disposition on the state of Nigeria as they see it from the northern periscope. The conquest to the east is now in sight. When our God sent Ahmadu Bello said some years ago that our conquest will reach the seashores of Nigeria, some idiot in the south were doubting its possibilities. Today, have we not reached the sea? With a question mark. Lagos is reached. It remains Port Harcourt. It must be conquered and taken after December 30, 1964. I remember when the NCNC and the AG were boasting about their daydreams of snatching power from us. Today, their great brains are in our bags. Imagine such personalities as Akintola, Benson, Davids, Akinjide, Olowo Feyeku. I still hope that it will not be long when Okpara, Adegbenro, and Amano Kano will come to beg. Oshabe and other Midwest leaders are halfway to us. As for Awolowo, he will spend the last days of his term of imprisonment there for his inordinate ambition. Some southern fools must understand that to suggest secession after their defeat is suicide for them. Let them think about all these things and understand the implications in secession. A. Where is the Nigerian Military Academy with a question mark? B. Where is the Nigerian Air Force base built? Question mark. All these are up here in our region. After the election, we will call upon our leaders to make a northern the leader of the Nigerian army. Those who propose in Rosy are daydreamer. After the next 5 years, those southern so-called educated fools must realize where they are. Once we will be able to connect the Borno Railway with those of our brothers in the neighboring countries, and from there to Egypt, we can allow secession to take place. Our export could then send through that way, thanks to Allah, that the Kanji Dam will soon be completed. It is up to Taka to come back or face what we follow when we achieve our aim. We must do anything possible to win the coming jihad, but we must keep our weather eyes open on those from the west, as they could do anything at any time. Immediately we win, we can lose some members from the west at any time. We must not take things for granted. With our 167 seats in the north, we can go it alone. There is no need sharing the post of prime ministership and presidentship with anyone. I have a genuine fear that we keep the post and then concede some important ministries to the Yoruba members. The time has come. We are going to show these intellectual fools that we are only in the morning of our leadership of this country. We try NMDP in the next 5 years and see whether they will be forward and ambitious as the ungrateful NCNC and AG. If some still doubt that we haven't conquered our way to the sea, let him go through this fact. Who is the Prime Minister of the country with a question mark? Who is the Minister of Lagos Affairs with a question mark? Is Lagos not our capital with a question mark? Our only obstacles are the Igbos. They have played their card, they will sink. Read more as Manifesto of Intention, then a history. This was copied, further circulated by Alex Oluwole Ajala. Do you understand what I said there? You're still in doubt about the invasion, the conquest, the jihad, the Ahmadu Bello, the Uthman Dan Fodio, the agenda, the subjugation, the waiting game. Are you still in doubt? That is just one out of many documents that have now been shared with me that I'll continue to read out to Yorubas and Nigerians to prepare for the worst case scenario of the agenda of the conquest of the Fulanis. It might not happen in one day, but this has been going on for a very long time. And we've got to put a full stop to it if we all want to succeed. If otherwise, we would all be consumed together in the Titanic. As I say good morning to everyone, I hope you enjoy the weekend ahead, as I will be doing. The role and the work, Tamafi Barawa or Warawalowa. And that work starts from here to your end to tell somebody and somebody else. Let's remind us that if we do nothing, they will do something. But as we are doing something, we are slowing them down because they know we are waking the mind and the spirit of millions of Yoruba people that are confused and the ones that are not confused. So, my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé àṣeyọrí la máa ṣe lórí ìrìn àjò yìí. Kò ní sú wa, kò ní rẹ̀ wá. Gbogbo ìgbà tó bá fẹ́ rẹ̀ wá, Ọlọ́run á máa fi àmì òróró sí wa lára tá máa fi gbé wa dìde ní gbogbo ìgbà. They think that we can be tired, but like I said to them, we will just remain strong. I will not be diverted. We remain focused because we know the threat that we are all facing. Whether you are one Yoruba conservative or Yoruba liberal or whatever position you feel you are. Whether you are just part of those political tools, Nigeria will consume you at its own appropriate time. We can stop it by going back one step and build brick by brick, which will be the future that we are all asking for. Mo kí bàbá wa Ibrahim Salami, Yinka Ogundele, Gbenga Adetola, Olanipekun Wealthy, Popola, Aziz Adebanjo, and many of you that have joined this discussion tonight. I'll be back again at the appropriate time as usual. What time do I come out? I don't give time. Get the notification set in. Make sure you follow us, and you will all have the privilege to listen to me when I'm coming live all the time. Kò ní sú wa, kò ní rẹ̀ wá. Ẹ̀mẹ́ni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ látàárọ̀. Èmi náà ní àbúrò yín, ẹ̀gbọ́n yín, olólùfẹ́ yín, tẹ́ mọ̀ sí Koikimedia. Tó bá ti fẹ́ máa sú ẹ̀yin, I will wake you up back. Tó bá fẹ́ sú èmi náà, kẹ́yìn náà kẹ́ wake me up. Wọ́n ní àgbá jọ̀wọ́ la fi ń ṣe kíni, ẹ bá ń parí ẹ̀. Mo kí bàbá wa Ọmọnìyí, bàbá mi Jimmy Koya, from Sango títí dé Iléwé Ẹran, títí dé Ṣàpọ̀n, títí dé Èkìtì, lọ sí Oǹdó, lọ sí Ọ̀ṣun, lọ sí gbogbo Kwara State dé Kogi, dé gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Lagos State, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bẹ ní Ìbàdàn, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní gbogbo àgbè tí ẹ ti rò pé kò ní ṣeé ṣe. Ó kù díẹ̀ nìbọn ró. Ẹ sọ fáwọn olóṣèlú pé let us sit together and discuss this. Àtàfà àti babaláwo àti àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá, do we want to remain one Nigeria? It's a question that everybody is running away from, but it's a question that needs to be dealt with before it is too late. Like I said, the crisis will erupt from their end. We will pick on it, or it can start from ours, it could start from the southeast, it could start from anywhere. As Obasanjo said, Nigeria is just sitting on the keg of gunpowder. Ireo. Iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wa, forílẹ̀ ibi wa, kàgbéga 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 falẹ̀rí, ìgbàgbọ́ wa ní pé bàtìbẹ̀rù làbọ̀ mọ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká jọlá. Ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ní kẹjẹ ká máa lépa, ìtẹ̀síwájú fọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára, ọmọ Oòduà dìde bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ, Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. I didn't mention your name. Yemi Fatoki Mokie, Spark Lizzie, thank you. Pamidele Ali Moki Dr. Ali now. And to all the Yoruba medias that are working tirelessly, I salute you all. I will remain your last man standing. Good morning. Shout out to those of you on the Twitter space. Sorry, on the Mixlr as well. Mokinyo. Thank you so much. Good night. Or good morning, depending on what part of the world you're watching from.